Hello everyone, in this video I'd like to talk to you about Nutonius of Acornshire. I was approached to do Nutonius by a friend after I had finished the ILM Star Wars challenge on ArtStation. He had a story that he had made for his then young children and had always wanted to develop it further. I thought it sounded like a lot of fun, so I began to design the characters. Nutonius was probably the simplest. He spends much of the book being acted upon. I think he may perform one action the entire book, so I was able to keep him a little simpler. He was challenging in a way though, because I had never made an anthropomorphized object like him. I think I finished the entire book before I gave him a face. At first I wasn't sure if I wanted to play with lighting and try to make it seem like he had a face through the shadows, but I eventually opted to draw it on. He is the main character after all. And a face sort of fit him. Now I didn't put a face on the Leaves of Wisdom for a couple reasons. One, it'd be weird to see a face on everything. Two, Nutonius is the main character. And three, when you look at the allegory and what each represents, a face just makes sense on Nutonius. Scatterhorde was fun to make. I based him on a red squirrel. I saw these ears on it. I love them. When I designed him, I knew I wanted some kind of evil, nasty creature. I think ultimately I may have gotten a little carried away. He's a little bit of squirrel, a little bit of devil. I even threw in a little bit of Shin Godzilla just for fun. Now the Great Snowy Owl went through a few revisions. I knew I wanted to make him angelic, but the first version of him was just too ordinary. His silhouette was too plain. I also wanted to contrast him to Scatterhorde. Now if Scatterhorde was all pointy, I wanted the owl to be smooth. Unfortunately the first version was just too smooth. That's kind of where the idea of these squared off, rounded feathers came to mind. I think it gives him a much more interesting shape too. As for the book itself, when I first started, everything was in landscape format. I see them sometimes in bookstores, and I love the look of them. However, there was a more practical reason for this, and that was the text. I wanted enough space on the page that the text would be large, and the illustration would be large, and that they'd work together really well. Unfortunately, when we went to go self-publish, we found out that it had to be in a certain format, or else they couldn't do it. So my big, beautiful book with the big long pages kind of, died. And I had to do it in portrait format, and so that meant having to redesign the entire book. Now some pages translated better than others. Sometimes maybe I just had to cut in half, move some elements up and some elements down and put some color in the middle. Some pages did not work so well like that. The first page is an example that really worked well like that. I could just move the different acorn elements to different text elements, and that was it. It was a really easy fix. The first trim page I have, 12 and 13, did not work that way. Even though they originally were a double page spread anyway, they were much longer, of course, than what I had. So after I put them in an 8.5 by 11 area and saw what was left to do, I actually had to do a lot more work on Scatterhorde. I had to add parts to his tail, parts to his arm fins. I think I had to add in an extra tree, and then all the color for the sky. Then I had to redesign the text to fit in those areas. That's part of where the idea of that leafy border came in. It allowed me to take some pages and add a few more panels to them and flesh out the story better. I figured if I had to redesign the book, I was going to try to make a better product than what I had. As you can tell from this video, the cover is another one that didn't work out too well when I had to reformat the book. That is one nice benefit about the way I work though. Since everything is a vector, since everything is a shape, since everything is its own folders, its own layers, it becomes very easy to move things about and to edit them as I need to. One thing I had to play a lot with was sizing. I wanted Nutonius bigger and more in the center since he is a central character. Since he became bigger, the branches he hangs on had to be bigger as well. It was easy enough just to make a new document, transport the color background over, and transport Nutonius over. Even if I resized him a little bit, I could just bring over the original branches, and hey, that size was good to go. Now it wouldn't have worked like that for the whole image, obviously. Once I got things about where I wanted them, the book looked pretty plain since, it was made for a landscape. So all I did then was make new leaves, add branches, and do anything I need to do to make the book seem full like it used to be. Fortunately, I was able to bring over a lot of what I had already made into the new piece. When I made the cover, I wanted to show something about the story without giving too much away. I focused on the battle over Nutonius, destruction and healing, and Nutonius' own cluelessness, the demonic scatter horde coming to take him from below, the owl coming from above to protect him, and Nutonius smiling like nothing is wrong. Thank you for watching my video. Nutonius of Acornshire is available for purchase for Kindle and print on Amazon.com. Thank you so much for watching.